Okay. I need to update this site. Final Fantasy V. Crystal's Adventure. I'm pretty sure that's not what it's going to be called for us. In fact... Did it not work? It didn't work. Oh, I see. There we go. Adventurous Spirit. Alright, what do we get here? Galoof access to White Magic 4. Galoof already has access to White Magic 4. He got into the maintenance, which is a really nice thing because, let's see, we have Lena, Exdeath, Creel. So Exdeath and Creel have access to White Magic 4 or Bard 4, allowing them to protect Unshelga, but nobody on the physical side had the ability to help out Lena. Now Galoof does. But that's it. No new characters or anything like that. So, we take a look at the banners, and this is what everyone wanted to see anyway. First banner being the... Yeah, Dispel as well, yeah. But... yeah, I don't know, I guess Galoof didn't have White Magic 3. But, Bart says Knight 4, doesn't he? You don't want to be banishing striking with Barts. Nor do you want to be banishing striking with Dorgan, so... Okay, so first banner, we have 4 6-stars still. Won't be moving up to the next banner format until the Renoa event, which is pretty far into the future still. So like a month and a half away from that. But Bart's ASB, 3 single target overflow, wind, water, fire, earth. He does not pay attacks for the Squadra element. It is a 24 just like everybody else. Except he can do it to more elements than everybody else. That's it. Which makes it a fairly obscene ASB. Bart's has access to an element of all 4 of those elements. It's not necessary, because most of the time when you're near the top of a chain, it's probably going to be capping on all of this anyway, regardless of an element status. But the option is there if you need it. So that is amazing just by itself. The dagger itself, the Man-Eater dagger, is plus wind 6-star weapon. And it's a dagger. So that's awesome. For all those characters that, you know, can use swords but not spears, and can use spears but not swords. And I've been running into issues. I've been doing a lot of Magicite experimentation when I have time the past week, and every time I want to use Zack and Cloud, I'm like, I would really like a wind weapon for these people other than Fusion's unique Soul Break, And this would be great for that. So that's a great start to the banner. Bart's USB 2 is kind of strange because it sounds awesome, and then you kind of compare it to the other things that Bart's has, and you're like, well, that's not as great. But then I think thinking about it more makes me like his USB 2 more than I eventually ended up. Anyway, you'll see. 10 single target wind, water, fire, earth, physical, self, X mode, 4 crystals. The X mode, or the status, self medium to extra large, spellblade damage up based on number of wind, water, fire, and earth abilities used during 4 crystals. And that is a very awesome multiplier. I need to open end leaders just so you can see the depths of how good that really is. Power the crystals. So this is the status that his USB 2 provides. Spellblade damage starts at plus 30%. And then for every wind, water, fire, earth attack that you use, it bumps it up to 35, 40, 45, 50. In increments of 5%, up to 70% increased spellblade damage. That's a lot. That's way too much. And it casts, not only does it have that incremental increase damage boost, but it also casts last spellblade when removed, so that it has a finisher attached to it. And I think it's just like all the others. 35% of your damage done during the status. One single attack for 35% of the damage dealt with spellblade abilities during the status breaks damage cap. Now, the reason why I went from being, hey, that's really nice, down to, that's not that great, is because his USB 1 is better. His USB 1 is better. Because if you think about it, let's say in the best case scenario, you are attacking for 40,000 damage every turn with a spellblade. Let's not throw in the new 5-hit spellblades quite yet. So you're doing 40,000 damage, and then at the end of the 15 seconds duration, you do another 100k. The thing about his USB 1 is that chases are overpowered. I'll just put that out there. Chases are overpowered. And you're doing 40,000 damage a turn with a spellblade. And the chase on top of that, over the course of 15 seconds, is going to amount to more. Not only is it going to amount to more than 100,000 damage, which this finisher caps out at, but it's also going to add a whole lot more to a chain, where the finisher is a single attack. Over the course of the 15 seconds on his USB 1, you're going to be adding to the chain let's say an average of five hits a turn. And that's a lot. Plus, he gets an attack speed multiplier on his USB 1. His USB 1 is basically just flat better than this. But there's a little bit of a difference. And that is the Spellblade Barrage. Spellblade Barrage, attack plus 30%, quick cast times 2, and casts Wind, Water, Fire, Earth Barrage after dealing damage with a Wind, Water, Fire, Earth Spellblade ability. That's very specific. It will only cast one of those chases after you deal damage of one of those elements, and the chase is going to be of that element. So this is good for wind, water, fire, and earth. What the USB 2 doesn't tell you is it casts less Spellblade when removed, right? One single attack for 35% of the damage dealt with Spellblade abilities during the status breaks damage cap. That's Spellblade abilities, not wind, water, fire, and earth. Power of the Crystal, Spellblade damage, plus 30%. Even if you do not use any wind, water, fire, earth damage, you still get plus 30% Spellblade damage. My hypothesis here is that his USB 2 is actually pretty decent for dealing lightning and ice damage, whereas USB 1 obviously is better for dealing wind, water, fire, or earth. This is actually more Spellblade focused instead of Quadra-Elemental focused. And if you combine that in with his Glint, which is also on this banner, 0 cast time, high quick cast Spellblade, and medium Spellblade ability boost. Medium Spellblade ability boost is if you have an R5 ability, you deal 30% increased Spellblade damage, which stacks additively with the 30% increased Spellblade damage from the 4 crystal status. So that's plus 30% increased damage, plus 30% increased damage. Now you may not need to use his Glint, but it may make sense to use his Glint in order to effectively use Bartz as a lightning or an ice character. You may not need to use his USB 2. And that's another, like, I guess, strike against Bartz's USB 2, is that while most of his USB 2 is completely just Spellblade based instead of Quadra-Elemental, the entry at least is. It's Wind, Water, Fire, Earth entry. So that would be something you would have to worry about. Maybe you could get away with just using his Glint, which is completely Spellblade based. And also only takes 250 soul break points, so you can get it going immediately at the start of a fight after 2 Spellblades or a life siphon and getting hit twice. This has always been Bartz's strength, in my opinion. It's that he has the tools for the situation. If the situation calls for both of them, he's got both of them. He can increase his damage even further with the Glint or with the USB 2. He has his USB 1. He can increase the damage of that even further with his Glint, with any of his burst soul breaks. Well, except for the first one. He has an ASB. He has all of the things that you need for every situation. And that's always been Bartz's strength. Not that he is particularly special in a single element. You could probably field every element of the 6 main elements. You could probably field a team better than one that includes Bartz. But Bartz's benefit is that he's Quadra-Elemental. He just, getting one of his relics is like getting 4 relics. And it's a pretty damn valuable thing to have. So there you go. There's Bartz ASB and USB 2 at the start of the banner. Pretty damn good start. Even though it is a 4 6-star banner. And I would, on the whole, suggest trying to stay away from 4 6-star banners, because we're going to be moving over to the next banner format soon. But there's going to be a lot of 4 6-star or 5 6-star banners that only have 4 good ones on it, and it's the same situation as regular banners versus festival banners. Sometimes some of these regular event banners are going to have good 4 good 6 stars on them, and they're going to be just as good as most of the 5 6 stars. Just because there's another 6-star on the new banner format doesn't necessarily make them better. It just gives them a better potential. Okay, so that's the first 2. Third, we got Lena's USB 2, which is, it's not a USB. It may say USB. It may come on a 6-star relic, but it's not a USB. That's a Medica 80, so a Curaga Medica, Party Stone Skin, and Party Last Stand. It's only 3 effects. That's a Super Soul Break. A good Super Soul Break, but a Super Soul Break. And we know slow cast Medicas are dangerous. The problem here is there are no fast cast Medicas in Final Fantasy V. So this is one of those dreaded, oh god, the only reason I would use this is in the Torment, isn't it? And it's kind of true. Is it good in the Torment? Yes, it is good in the Torment. Last Stand is actually pretty useful against Gilgamesh. So what starts out like looking at this from a Magicite perspective and everything perspective, this sucks. I wouldn't want this at all. But the Torment is the hardest difficulty in the game, the hardest content in the game, the highest rewards of any content in the game. It does make something like this actually considerably useful, valuable, because this will help you get there. Can her BSB2 take the place of this? Yes, her BSB2 can. Because one of the nice things about Lena's BSB2 is its commands. It has good commands that provide the only instant heal in Final Fantasy. Oh, that's not true. Kelger's Super Soul Break is actually an MVP, and that is an instant heal. But Lena's first Kiraja command is first command on her Burst Soul Break 2 is an instant Kiraja, and it's actually pretty useful in the Torment. So if you have that, then this becomes less useful. But if you don't, then this is a pretty important thing. Fourth 6-star is a Generation 2 chain belonging to Galoof. Galoof is actually an amazing user of the Earth Chain because a valuable thing to have against Quetz, the 5-star Lightning Magicite, is the ability to break the damage cap. And Galoof gets heavy 5. So he is able to chain as well as use the heavy 5 ability that allows him to break the damage cap. That you got, not a lot of people have seen that yet. So I'll go show it to you now. Stone Press is going to be a new heavy ability that we get. That does one attack for a 3.0, 4.0, or a 7.0 if the user has heavy charge. So generate heavy charges and you can break the damage cap. Because that 7.0 is a considerable multiplier. And it's purposely in one single attack, so you can do that. And that's a great thing to have for the fight. And the fact that Galoof gets access to heavy, and he's a Generation 2, he's made for that Magicite. So that is an excellent thing to have. And considering the fact that that's the first Magicite that we're going to be going against, it's good in kind of an immediate way. Does it help that much in the Torment? I guess. You're probably going to want to stay away from it if you have to, or if you can. But if you have to, it's there to work for you. The thing about the Torment is that you do have access to the Realm Chain. So the only thing of real value that you're getting out of this is the plus 50% attack. Yes, I know the chain is technically better than the Realm Chain. But, and that it would only be better if you're running a full Earth team, which is actually fairly difficult to do if you didn't pull on the Kelger Dorgon Zat banner that came before this one. I regret not looking into the Torment more back then and realizing, oh, I probably want to stack up on a or try to get myself another Earth DPS so I can bring it to a fight with Bartz and Gloof in the Torment. And I'll talk about that more as I get to the end of the banner. But anyway, Gloof's Chain is obviously a very good thing. So 3 very, very good things. 1 pretty essential thing if you don't have access to a Burst Soul Break 2, but not that useful otherwise. On the 6-star section. Next up, we have Bart's Glint. I talked about it already a little bit. It's really, really good. A lot of people were disappointed up to this point in the game that they hadn't gotten Bart's USB 1. Bart's USB 1 is good. It is, you cannot completely replace it, but there will be many situations where you'd actually just rather use Bart's Glint instead. Because it is 250 soul break points less. It is instant cast. And it technically is a higher Spellblade damage boost. The high quick cast instead of a ×2 cast. And a 30% increased damage boost. Where his chase isn't that high. But obviously the chase has some benefits which I already talked about. This is something that you would use in many situations instead of his USB 1. And one of the reasons, I think probably the primary reason there is the instant cast and the 250 less soul breaks. 250 less soul break points spent because of the presence of his ASB, and maybe spending less soul break points allows you to weave in one of his burst soul breaks, which, you know, is pretty useful if you're using his ASB. So let's say Glint, BSB 2 for water, and ASB is a total of what, 1,500 soul break points? 3 soul breaks over the course of a fight isn't that difficult with light entrusting. You wouldn't even need to be heavily entrusted. And he would do a hell of a lot of damage really quickly. So that's just same thing with the rest of Bart's. Is there's a way to run Bart's for the way you need. Do you need to only spend 250 soul break points over the course of a fight? Cool. Do you need to spend 2,000? Cool. He can make it work. He has the soul breaks. He has the technology. So that's his Glint, and that is a very good thing to have on the banner. Next is an expansive burst soul break section with 5 of them. Because we're running light on the complement of Glints and LMRs. We have 1 Glint and 4 LMRs on the banner. But Ferris's BSB 2 actually isn't that bad. 0 cast time. 0 cast time is always nice. Wind, fire, range, physical, enemy attack and defense minus 50%, and burst mode. This is not that great for the Torment. It's okay. It's instant cast, and it's 8 hits. I may try to use it. I don't know. We'll if I get it. If I pull. I haven't decided that yet. But that's only for the highest difficulty of the Torment. For the D280, which is the difficulty most people should be content in completing or sub-30ing, this is actually very good. 0 cast time and an attack and defense minus 50% debuff, which is very useful at the D280 level, because debuffs are still very valuable at that level. This is actually a pretty good burst. What are the commands? Anything good? Power breakdown, armor breakdown? Not really. Again, for fights where debuffs are actually worth something, this is an excellent burst. At the highest levels of content, not as much. Okay, next up, Creel Burst Soul Break 2, 8 single target, fire and elemental, Imperil Fire. Well, Imperils are actually still useful, because the character using the Imperil themselves doesn't need to have to be that great. as long as the other people on the team are that great and can take advantage of it. And that's why I think a lot of Imperil Soul Breaks have a higher shelf life than an element. This is Kriel's Burst Soul Break 2, yes. Kriel is a very good fire user, one of the best fire mages in the game. Unfortunately, the classic combination, using an Imperil Soul Break with an LMR that allows you to start out with the N element of that Imperil at the start of the fight. Kriel has one of those, but it's not on this banner. She actually gets her LMR 2, which is a chance to double cast fire abilities. You know, I would like her LMR 1 to be here, but I'm not going to complain with the LMR 2. I know a lot of people probably have her LMR 1, and getting her LMR 2 would be excellent. So that's good in a weird way. It's not by itself that great. I suppose it's fine. There's fire mages that can take advantage of it. Anyway, next up, Bart's BSB. I forget which one we're calling this now. BSB 4. The Wind BSB. Obviously a good thing if you don't have it. I don't have it. I want it. Lena's BSB 1. You know, I hate the fact that it's her BSB 1, because I would so much rather her BSB 2. It's a Curaga Medica, or Cura Medica. So it's not even Curaga. Re-raise, which is more useful in Torment because you get a permanent wall, so even if you get raised, the wall takes effect on you. It's still not that great because you lose the rest of your buffs. And Torments are still about speed, so losing buffs is usually a reset. And it doesn't have a single target command, no instant cast commands. It has a 4-hit holy attack command for command 1, and I think it does have at least a Medica command for command 2. It does, thank goodness. But I would so much rather a BSB 2. Considering her is her BSB 2 in the trials? Probably not. Because unlike some other Soul Breaks, I actually plan on pulling on a banner with Lena's USB on it. So while I would like her BSB 2, I'll take her USB 2 instead. Oh, the BSB 1? No. God, no. I would never select her BSB 1. Okay, so there's that. This sucks. It may be the only Medica you have, and it's probably good enough to do D280. I am sure it is. D280 was very disappointingly easy, and I feel like there's a lot of teams out there that are going to be able to pull off a sub 30 on it, and this is probably all the healing that you need. But this is probably not what you're looking for the highest difficulty. You're most likely going to be required to use the Burst Soul Break 2 or the USB 2. Maybe you get 50% damage done, but okay, that's something I haven't gone over on stream yet, I don't think, is that the two milestones that I look at in the Torment are completion, not stoning your entire team and getting a completion at 50%, but killing the boss and sub 30. So when I say that it's probably not good enough, I mean it's not good enough to kill the boss. Because you will die well before that point. Because this is not enough to heal you. Okay, so next up, another BSB, which is actually probably the best of the BSBs here. Galoof BSB2, 8 single target, Earth, Fire, Physical, Imperil Earth. The reason why I like this so much is because exactly what I talked about with Creel. I like Imperils because as long as you have someone that can take advantage of the Imperil, then it doesn't matter how much damage this person is doing as long as they're increasing the damage of the powerful people on your team. Well, Galoof happens to be in a realm that has Bartz and Kelger in it. So Galoof with BSB2, it can actually be extremely powerful as long as he boosts the damage of Bartz and Kelger. So this is actually a pretty damn useful burst, especially if you get, or if you have Galoof's and Earth LMR. Unfortunately, is the same thing with the Creel situation. Galoof's and Earth LMR is not on this banner. His Start Battle with Quick Cast 3 is. And the same situation with Creel. Okay, it's not the Unearth LMR, but that's still pretty awesome. Starting the Battle with Quick Cast 3 is great. So that's, I've already covered both of the LMRs on the banner for Creel and Galoof. They're both really good. Bartz, this is shown up everywhere, but if you don't have it, you obviously want it. Extra low chance, or 10% chance to triple cast the Spellblade ability. And lastly, Lena's low chance to cast a minor Medica when using white magic abilities. This is actually pretty nice. In almost every configuration of Lena, even her BSB1, because it allows you to double Medica. It's kind of like dual casting. But I think it's most useful for her with her BSB2, because a low chance to minor Medica, which is same potency as a Medica command, when using her instant cast. I do believe it does, yes. Affirmative action. Yes, Max Rage, exactly that. So less potent, but or less chance, same potency. So what you really want to do here is use Lena's BSB2 to instant cast Curages every single turn, so you have a chance of Medica repeatedly, multiple times a turn, because she's instant casting heals so quickly. That would be the ideal situation for something like this. I just really wish that this was her BSB2. It's a crime that it isn't. Okay, so let's look at the banner in its entirety. There's a small problem, and this is me speaking personally, my personal situation. In Final Fantasy V, my only real damage dealer is Bartz. I don't have anybody else. I have Galoof's Super Soul Break 2. I have some Ferris Soul Breaks, but they're not there to deal damage. So all I have is Bartz. So what kind of team do I want to assemble for the Torment? Well, obviously Bartz, obviously Lena. And where do I go from there? I would like 3 characters to add. Because Bartz can make use of Soul Break points so well, there's no reason why I should shy away from including Ferris. I can include Ferris and she can entrust to Bartz, and that would be great, because her Soul Break points will go to great effect. So that's fine. That's 3 people. Now what? Now, if I get Galoof's chain, do I bring him with that? No. It doesn't really do a whole lot. If I get Galoof's BSB2, now we're in there. Galoof BSB2 is a perfect complement to Bart's. So Bart's and Galoof BSB2 would be great. If I had Galoof's USB1, that would be also great. Gilgamesh would also be a good choice with his fire abilities, because Bart's could, instead of being Earth, Bart's could go and be a fire character instead. So this is what the problem I'm having at the moment. Personally, since I only have Bart's, pulling on this banner doesn't actually set me up that well to defeat the highest difficulty of the Torment, because I didn't pull on the Dorgon and Kelger banner. Ideally, the team I would like to make for this realm would be Bart's, Galoof, Dorgon, Kelger, or take one of those away and add in Ferris instead, and then Lena. I can't get that. I don't have access to that with this party, or this banner. And that stinks, because this banner is really, really good. It deserves the hype that we've been throwing upon it for the last, 6 months or so. But there is a banner. Dorgon BSB be good in the Final Fantasy V Torment? Yes, it would. Actually, quite awesome. The Imperil on a good Earth character in Dorgon, I'd probably dive him for the Torment with his BSB. That's like extreme stuff, so don't like go out there and dive Dorgon with his BSB just because I said that. But I would consider it. But he would be great. I would love to use Bart's, Dorgon, BSB, and Galoof with BSB too. And that would be a pretty damn good team. But I don't. I don't have access to these things. So where do I fill in that gap? If I pulled on this banner and get all the things that I wanted to get, I would have Bart's, I would have Galoof, I would have Ferris to entrust, and I would have Lena to heal. Where do I fill in that gap? Well, this is something that everybody who has looked at this banner needs to take a good, hard look at before pulling. In October, which, relatively speaking, isn't that far away. For instance, the next Final Fantasy Tactics event is more than 6 months away. Final Fantasy V in October has a very, very similar banner to this. It is past the point of the format change. There are 5, 6 stars on the banner. The similarities: Bart's USB 2, Lena USB 2, Galoof chain. But there's a difference here, and that is Gilgamesh USB 2, Gilgamesh chain. Yes, the banner has 2 chains on it. And it provides me with that third DPS that I was looking for. I can use Bart's, I can use Gilgamesh, and I actually have Galoof's USB, or Super Soul Break 2, which would actually work pretty well on a team with Bart's and Gilgamesh as a fire team. It's give and fire to Galoof and 50% crit rate to party. Pretty good. Pretty good. So what do we lose? What do we lose? Bart's ASB, Bart's Glint. Now, this is playing a little fast and loose with the gacha, but Bart's ASB and Bart's Glint do occur elsewhere. And that is the festival that comes right before it. So, I'm getting really deep into my own situation here. I want everyone to realize this. This is disclaimer. This is me. This is my situation. So, this is Banner 2 of the next festival. The new stuff on it will be Celeste ASB, Sarah Chain, Rydia USB 2, Celeste Glint, and Rydia LMR 2. Now, this banner is not going to be for everybody. We already have access to a very good ice chain. Renoa has it. I do not have this chain, making this an interesting banner for me. I do not have good Final Fantasy VI damage options, making this an interesting banner for me. For Celeste ASB, for Celeste USB. I do not have good water mages. Nobody does. Making Rydia's very good USB 2 a good pull. And remember what I talked about with Renoa's chain? I don't have that. Making Sarah's chain a good pull. Now filling in the gaps, which I just talked about on that Final Fantasy V banner. Bart's ASB occurred here. Bart's Glint occurred here. This is like a perfect storm. And this is probably why, even though I like this current Final Fantasy V banner so much, I'm going to roll the dice and say, I'm going to pull for Bart's on this excellent banner that I need so many things from. And I'm going to pull on this banner, this Final Fantasy V banner, which has so many things that I need for other reasons. All of these reasons. Final Fantasy V Torment, Final Fantasy VI Torment, my Ice Elemental team. It is hard. That's why I say I'm going to roll the dice. I do think it's safer than most that Bart's ASB is going to occur here with his Glint. And if it doesn't, then, you know, I rolled the dice and I lost. But because, here's my main concern, is if I pull on this banner, it doesn't do anything for me. Besides help me out in Magicite. If I'm going to pull on an event banner, it didn't, but, I mean, think about how many times Bart's USB 1 occurred on banners, festival banners before that, before they finally took it off of a festival banner. Bart's ASB has never occurred on a festival before. That's at least my thinking and predictive analysis, and that it will be there. I will sub 30 the D280 with what I have. So, pulling on this banner, what it would need to provide for me would be a killing of the highest difficulty of the Final Fantasy V Torment. I don't think it does it. You know, it may kill it. If I pulled heavily, and if I pulled heavily on this banner, that removes these two banners from being good pulls. Because, yeah, I do need an ice chain, but I can hold off on the ice chain. And if I have Bart's ASB and Bart's Glint, then I'm just really not that interested in this banner anymore. So, it's mutual exclusivity. Do I pull on this Final Fantasy V banner that's coming in a couple days? Or do I wait for the future and pull on a festival in the next Final Fantasy V banner instead? That's probably the decision I am going to make. Because I need so many of the things that these two banners provide. If I didn't... I mean, think about it. I also need a fire chain. I don't have a single fire chain. So if I had Locke's chain, that would probably take this banner out of the running and I'd go here instead. Like I said, there's so many things that had to have to work correctly to make these two banners so much better for me than this one that's coming up in a couple days. How's everybody feel about that? Does it sound too much like I'm downplaying this banner? Because I'm not. The banner's awesome. Had I pulled on the Final Fantasy V banner that came before this, the Kelger Galoof banner. Kelgar, Galoof, and Dorgan. Oh my god. I can't believe I skipped that banner. What is wrong with me? And had another Earth character to pair up with Galoof and Bartz, I'd be pulling here. It wasn't about respect. I didn't look into it. I've always thought that it's going to be the hardest content in the game. I'm not one of the people that said, "Oh, we're gonna be." I've got great synergy. I'm gonna sub 30 this. It was more I just didn't look. It was neglect. I didn't think about it enough. Had I thought about it more, I would have pulled probably 100 to 150 mithril on that banner. It was a very strong banner. I didn't look at this banner enough, I guess, and say, oh wait, there isn't a whole lot of physical damage here. Oops. Oh, there's plenty of physical damage, but it's for 2 characters and no more. But anyway, there's so many situations to make this an excellent banner to pull on. I don't want anyone to think that I'm like shit-talking it, because I'm not. It's just, unfortunately, not for me because I put myself in a bad situation. So let's move on. Banner 2, Bartz USB 1, Ferris USB 2, Dorgan USB, Galoof USB. So here we are. And no, I will not be pulling on this banner. I don't really care for Varus's USB 2. It is good, it's fine. I don't think... I have way too many wind characters now. I have way too many. So it really isn't all that useful for me. Bartz USB 1 is a dupe. Dorgan USB and Galoof USB would obviously both be great. But I mean, when you cut off 50% of the top of the banner like that, you just can't pull on banners like that these days. It's just not enough anymore. There's so many good banners to pull on that I don't have enough mithril to think about banners where I only want 2 of the 6 stars. Don't need a debuffer? No, because debuffers aren't useful at all in the highest difficulty. And in D280, yeah, dancing is a thing. I have Ferris's BSB. Okay, so anyway, Burst Soul Breaks. Bartz BSB 3, Earth Soul Break. Ferris BSB 1, ugh. Dorgan BSB is good. It's good. We were just talking about this. That attack and defense plus 30% is a viable boost because Heiska's in the game now. So Imperil and a party buff, it's really, really good. Really good in Torment. Kelgar BSB is an Earth on an Earth Ninja. That's fine. That's viable earth damage. X-Death BSB1. It's Imperil Dark. There's just a lot of these, and this is one of the worst. Ferris LMR 1 up to me. Increase physical damage up with number of debuffs on target. But it is wind armor, which isn't shown here. And wind light armor is... I still need some, so that's pretty nice. Dorgon starting with Earth is excellent, especially with his BSB. Galoof, low chance to double cast monk abilities, good. Kelger, low chance to self-blink when using ninja abilities, that's good. Also Earth Armor? Yes. And X-Death Start Battle with Undark. Oh, well, that's good. Start Battle with Undark and his Imperil Burst is good. So the banner isn't bad. It just... It's hard when 2 of your 6 stars are this. The Monk 6-star should be coming in the 3rd month. So, September. Like we got, the Spellblade abilities at the start of this month. Next month is going to be Black Magic abilities at the start of, August. And then at the start of September should be the Monk abilities. And so I haven't advertised it a lot, but I have a link on the sidebar of my site, useful Reddit links. This is a pretty damn useful link. Because I have a link to what's called the new Torment Index. Well, I'm probably redo this now that the old Torments are gone. Now it should just be the Torment Index. And going to this this page, excellent resource for the Torments, which shows the timetable for all of the Torment fights. See, Gilgamesh is coming soon. Also provides a timetable for the 6-star abilities that we're going to be getting. So Spellblades is 1st month, Black Magic 2nd month, then Black Magic and Monk on the 3rd month. Oh yeah, this is a different banner. Yeah, is anyone else... Okay, let's say I don't have Bart's USB 1. Does that make this banner better? Because, you know, the BSBs are good. Bart's BSB 3, Dorgon BSB, Kelger BSB. Yeah, not really. There's too many holes. I think Ferris USB 2 is always going to be a hole. Ferris BSB is going to be a hole. Kelger BSB is kind of a stopgap. It is earth damage. Yeah, Vortex is very strong. I agree. You say I agree. I feel like I should know that. No. Never heard that before. Yeah, I wish Kelger Super Soul Rank was around too. It's awesome. It's awesome. That would be my 3rd character. It would be a pretty low damage team, but at least I think I'd be able to get a completion out of the highest difficulty with that. Yeah, I'm not really feeling this banner. It doesn't have enough. It's got doesn't have enough meat. Yeah, me too, Solus. Alright, so like I said, I've been doing a lot of Magicite experimentation, and I'm going to end the stream. Oh, actually, before I do, I'm going to highlight that event preview. So, couple minute break. I'll turn the music back on.